Hey there, welcome back to Mantic String Works. So today on the workbench we have this really nice Canadian made guitar. It's a Godin Stadium HT, handcrafted in Canada. The Telecaster style, single cutaway. It looks like maple body. Brass vintage saddles, standard controls, three-way switch. So they've got some custom Cajun pickups by Godin. GS3.M. So I just wanted to feature this guitar quickly because it's really nice. It's well made and they're well priced. Nice maple neck. Let's flip it over. Yeah, a little cutaway here. Not a total curve, but a cutaway, so a little more access. String through body, and the ferrules are recessed, which is nice. Oh, a little bit of a nick right there. Look at this neck. Really nice. Godin and Godin tuners. So this here for a setup, and nothing much wrong with this guitar. I'm just going to put some 10 to 46 D'Addario on there, but I just wanted to feature it. Show you a Canadian made guitar. Maybe we'll see what kind of output we got from these pickups. Alright, so if you've watched my channel before, you know that I use a multimeter to test the impedance of the pickup. So I'm going to plug in the guitar, then I'm going to put the ground lead on the barrel of the output jack, and then on the tip, the hot lead, just like that, and over there, and then we're going to get a reading. So I'm going to push it up to the neck. And the neck we have 6 kilo ohms, so right on the money. And we're going to go down to the bridge, 7.77, and in between the two pickups should be about the middle, 3.43. Now impedance doesn't necessarily tell you how loud or how much output your pickups will have, but it gives you an idea of how many windings there are in there, generally speaking. The greater the impedance, the more output. There's also a measure called Henry's, which I'm not quite sure how to do. Maybe someone can suggest that in the link, but that would give you another sort of output reading there too. So anyways, these are, they're pretty standard for a single coil in that sense. But yeah, I'm sure they sound pretty good. So I'm going to go ahead and get the strings off. And just check out the fretboard. It's pretty clean, and I did test the truss rod and it does move, so not too concerned about that. But I'll get the strings off, clean it up a little bit, and then we'll restring it and do a setup. So this guitar right now is set up pretty high, the action, so using my string and pickup height gauges, which you can purchase on my website, manticstringworks.com. 4/64, which is about 1.6 millimeters at the 17th fret, is a standard Fender spec, and yeah, there's tons of space above this. So I'm going to try 5/64, which is 2 millimeters. Still lots of space. So this is set up really high. Now it could be a function of the neck relief as well, which is, maybe needs some adjusting. Let me check that. Capo on the 1st fret. I like to see about 10 thousandths at the 7th fret for an electric guitar, so hold down at the last fret. Yeah, I could use some neck relief. We're probably at around 12. Oh, a little higher than that. So yeah, I'll adjust the neck a little bit, clean her up, we'll restring it, and then do a proper setup. It's always a good time to check the nuts here on the tuning machines to make sure they're tight, and you can do them when it's strung up or when the strings are off. And again, I don't know how many times I've mentioned these Stumac thin wrenches. Like there's 3 in a set. This one's 10 mil and 3/8, but they're generally 10 millimeters these, so they seem pretty tight. Yeah, I'll just give them a little, 1/16 of a turn. There we go. So you notice on this guitar there are 2 string trees. Now for Teles and Strats, generally 2 string trees are necessary to create a break angle. Sometimes you'll just see 1, but I'm kind of a fan of 2 just because of the break angle. But in this case, one thing I notice is that it makes it a little difficult to get a truss rod wrench in there. So this is a little stubby one. So I think I can get that one in there. Yeah, I can. It's just just something in the way. So you might take that off when you're doing an adjustment. I'll see if I have to, or you'll have to live with it, I guess. But that's one thing I'd like to see. Maybe back a little further, but I'm sure they figured out where they need to put these to get the right angle. Alright, the strings are off. I've got easy access here. So if you remember, the neck relief was quite high. It was probably around 14 thousandths. So I'm going to get this 4mm. Yeah, it's pretty loose. There's some resistance there, but I'm going to give this 2 little 1/8 of, like a quarter turn total sort of thing. Just sort of preemptively while I have the strings off. Let's have a little closer look here. So these frets are super clean, no divots, fretboard's clean. So I think I might just maybe run a 400 fret eraser over them, and then the 1000. Yeah, just to give them a little bit of a cleaning and a light polish. So before I put the new strings on, I just want to point out again, we have a vintage saddle. So we have shared saddles here on the bridge. Not a big fan of that. I prefer 6 individual saddles, but people like that look with a Tele, and some people think it sounds different. Whatever, I'm not here to argue. But you can see that they're all a little wonky, right? And you can't get around that because you need a radius. Low to high, in the middle, back down, right? So the radius has to match or be very close to the fretboard. So you can see how you're not going to get saddles that are sitting, both of these screws are going to sit at the same height. Anyways, a little niggly thing, but hey, Telecasters have been around since the 50s. They're not going away. Okay, well, I was going to go put the E string on, the 6th string, and I was just aligning the tuners to face the nut, and I noticed here on the 2nd string, and I'm going to get in close hopefully, you can see that little plastic washer is broken. And you might say, well, what do you need that for? It actually keeps that tuning key stable. If you look at the other ones, they turn really nicely, but this is really light feeling, and oh, there we go. You can see it's wobbling around. So I'm going to have a quick look and see if I have some spare ones to cannibalize maybe from an old set of tuners. Well, I do have a couple of bags here, but unfortunately none of them, this is an old set of tuners, none of them have nice and white ones. They're all a little old and discolored a bit, but actually you're not going to notice that. So I just took that little plastic bushing out. I'll just put these parts back in here. And this is a donor bag. Yeah, you just take off tuning key. They're pretty much universal, these things, so I'm not expecting there to be a problem. Hopefully. Let's see here. Oh, there we go. So this model, so hopefully you can see that. Looks like a C now. This one had a little washer, a little tiny washer. Some do, some don't. And that, it's nice and greasy too. So I'm hoping that fits right on. There we go. Perfect. And then the washer was in between the tuning key and the metal washer. Okay, it's good. For a second there I thought I lost the screw. Get that. Yeah, it's got a square post, so it's got to go on a certain way, I guess. There we go. And we'll just tighten that up. Yeah, I think you can buy those plastic washers online, but you know, it'd be one of those things you buy, either you have to buy a bag with 50 in them, you know, or you get 5 or 2 for, you know, $10 or something crazy like that, right? There we go. All fixed. Okay, well, strung this guitar up, and I'm going to stretch it out, so I'm kind of liking this string stretcher. And I know I made a roller prototype, but I'm going to use this one for a while and see if it wears out or anything like that. I mean, it's ABS plastic, should last a while. I kind of like the idea of it. I know, it's a gadget. Sometimes gadgets make sense. I just wish it had rollers like my prototype. Yeah, and the plain strings, right, the unwound strings, they don't really need as much stretching. But go ahead. Alright. Excuse me, I'm still getting over my cold, which turned out to be pneumonia. So, what can you do? Okay, well, I'm going to tune up this guitar and let it sit overnight and then do the setup tomorrow. Alright, so I've done the setup on this guitar, and I gotta say, no surprises, no strange things. It set up really nice. I have the action here at 4/64 at the 17th fret, and I usually, so it's about 1.6 millimeters. I usually raise up the 6th string, the E string, just a little bit, maybe 4.5, even 5, just so if you're really hard playing, you know, you don't get any bouncing around, but everything plays really nicely. The neck relief is right around 8 thousandths, which is low, which is nice, and the first nut action here is right around 20 thousandths of an inch. So for a new guitar, that's really nice. I like that. Pickups I've adjusted 1/8 of an inch on the bass side, 3/32 of an inch on the treble side. You know, 1/8 is about 3.2 and about 2.4 millimeters respectively. So yeah, beautiful guitar, you know, Tele style, single cutaway, vintage bridge, brass saddles, standard 3-way switch and controls. Very nice. So if you're looking for a handcrafted in Canada guitar, Godin is definitely a quality guitar. This is the Stadium HT. Yeah, so go look for one on the used market or brand new. They're worth it. Alright, talk to you later.